Another COVID-19 vaccine could be headed to the market. We'll hear from local health professionals about spikes in area COVID-19 cases. Miami residents learn about the rights they have as renters.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Another COVID-19 vaccine could be headed to the market. Biotech company Novavax is expected to ask permission to distribute its shots soon. This is KOAM News at 10. Meanwhile, the Biden administration is in its final sprint towards the president's Independence Day vaccination goal, as the country also hit a new grim milestone of 600,000 COVID-related deaths. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
Novavax is joining the fight against COVID-19. The Maryland-based biotech company says its 2-dose vaccine is about 90% effective and is safe after being tested in nearly 30,000 trial participants. Last year, we spoke with the company's head of research and development.
This is really a complex process. It has a lot of burden to prove that it's safe and can work.
Novavax plans to seek authorization to give out its vaccine by the end of September, with a focus on distribution in low to middle income countries. It comes as scientists are sounding the alarms on the Delta variant of the virus, first discovered in India. Over the past 3 weeks, China has been racing to stop the spread of the highly contagious variant, and the former FDA commissioner tells CBS News it could become the dominant strain here in the U.S.
This could spike a new epidemic heading into the fall.
Members of Congress lined the Capitol steps to honor the nearly 600,000 Americans who've died from the pandemic. So far, more than 64% of Americans have received at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Administration officials are stepping up their efforts to get even more people to roll up their sleeves, just 3 weeks shy of President Biden's July 4th goal of 70%.
Now's not the time to let our guard down.
Vice President Harris visited a vaccination site in South Carolina, the first stop in a nationwide push.
If you are vaccinated, you are protected.
Meanwhile, the first federal court ruling regarding vaccine mandates came down in Texas. A federal judge dismissed the lawsuit filed by Houston Methodist Hospital employees over its COVID vaccine requirement. The plaintiffs say they'll appeal. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
2 senior administration officials confirmed to CBS News that Mexico will receive 1 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine tomorrow morning as part of the 80 million doses pledged worldwide by President Biden by the end of June. China is dealing with the rapidly spreading Delta COVID variant, which was first found in India. Health workers there say they have been fighting for the past 3 weeks and that it could be a bigger threat than the initial virus. Chinese health officials say saying the surge is easing, but they're warning that future flare-ups could follow. The COVID-19 numbers are increasing in the 4 states. In southeast Kansas, Crawford County saw a 20-case increase at the beginning of June. And from May to June, Cherokee County saw a 35-case uptick. They're now at 40 active cases. David Grove says he thinks the increase is coming as summer gets into full swing.
You did see a little bit of a break, and that may have created some sense of security for folks, especially when the numbers were declining and the number of vaccination administrations were increasing.
We have more COVID case numbers from around the 4 states on our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. We keep saying this, Doug, but it was another hot one. And I understand it's going to continue to be hot ones.
Yeah, you know, it's summertime. It usually gets hot. Usually June, it's not extremely bad, but it's been a little bit hotter over the past week and a half or so. And it is going to continue as we go through this week. Looking at our numbers today, a nice start, 60 during the morning hours, but 92 during the afternoon. Average high is 86. We're going to stay in the 90s as we go through the week. Nothing going on here. I have a few little clouds dropping down, but that is just about it. This big dome, a high pressure out to the west, is kind of driving our weather over the next several days, keeping us hot and in general mainly dry. Temps right now still warm, upper 70s to near 80 degrees, but we don't have much in the way of humidity, so we don't have much of a heat index across the region, which is always nice to see. We're going to drop back mid 60s for us tonight, back to 93 for a high temperature for us tomorrow. So another hot one, but the humidity is going to start to sneak back in, so we're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thank you. Well, tomorrow, the Miami Housing Authority will be hosting a rental housing rights, responsibility, and remedies training class. Now, the course is open to landlords and tenants in Miami and the surrounding area. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with the Housing Authority and tenants to share the importance of staying up to date on the latest housing laws.
For anyone renting property, it's key to know what you can and can't do, whether you're a landlord or a tenant.
We just felt that it was important to educate people on the newest updates for fair housing and for the Landlord-Tenant Act of Oklahoma.
On Wednesday, the Miami Housing Authority will team up with the Tulsa Area Fair Housing Partnership to ensure residents are up to date on their rights when it comes to housing in the state.
Miami just really needs to be have some education for their landlords as well as for the tenants about fair housing and about Landlord-Tenant Act and what they can expect from both of those things.
Housing Authority officials say it's been some time since residents have received an update.
There hasn't been any training for quite a while, and the city itself of Miami is really trying to upgrade their housing that's available for people in rentals. And so with us, with the Housing Authority, we're kind of trying to partner with them in bringing better education about that to the city.
The Housing Authority hopes that by having an event like this, they can draw on more landlords to meet their needs for subsidized housing while also educating them on their rights.
Hopefully, this will get people to want to participate in the subsidy program, and we'll get some more good landlords that want to participate in that. There's not enough houses for our tenants to rent in Miami.
Brenda Sears, a tenant in Miami, says having more education on housing rights would benefit everyone.
Yes, I think there needs to be more education on it, so people know what Miami does have to offer in the housing situation here, because a lot of people don't know.
In Miami, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The rental housing rights, responsibilities, and remedies training will take place tomorrow at the E Street Plaza Safe Room in Miami from 10 to noon. One person is dead, 4 others seriously injured after a crash in Jasper County. It happened yesterday on Kafer Road north of Oronogo. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says a minivan was going east when it went off the right side of the road, back over the center line, overcorrected, and hit a tree. Victor Alexandrios from Carthage was killed, 4 others seriously injured. The crash report says Alexandrios was wearing a seatbelt. A judge has ruled that the city of Joplin should receive nearly $1.1 million in its lawsuit against CenturyLink, the city's internet provider. The judge also awarded the city of Columbia, Missouri, around $54 million. Now, the two cities sued Spectra Communications Group, which is owned by CenturyLink, in 2014 over unpaid local taxes. Under the ruling, Columbia will also keep $2.3 million in business license taxes that CenturyLink paid under protest. The company argued that the local taxes should not apply to some of its services, and the damages the cities were seeking were exorbitant. Still ahead, gun violence cases are on the rise across the U.S., and Israel has a new prime minister after the defeat of Benjamin Netanyahu.
7th, Joplin, Missouri.
Gun violence across America spiked in 2020 and is showing no signs of slowing so far in 2021. The Gun Violence Archive counts at least 272 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year. That's defined as incidents with 4 or more people shot. There have been more than 8,900 gun deaths this year, including 139 just since Friday. Benjamin Netanyahu is out as Israel's prime minister after 12 years in office. The country's longest-serving leader lost control of the government last night. 49-year-old Naftali Bennett is the new prime minister. To take office, his party created Israel's most diverse coalition in history, including an Arab party for the first time ever. Netanyahu has called his toppling a fraud. Volkswagen and its luxury brand Audi have been hit with a data breach impacting at least 3 million customers and prospective buyers in North America. Company officials say an unauthorized third party obtained personal information from a vendor that Audi uses. The company has reached out to 90,000 people who had extremely personal information swiped, including their driver's license and social security numbers. The company says it'll offer those consumers free credit protection services. The United States Postal Service says more than 5,800 of its mail carriers were attacked by dogs in 2020. The agency reports an attack only if a postal worker submits an injury claim or tells a supervisor about it. The most dog attacks were reported in Houston, followed by Chicago, Los Angeles, Cleveland, and Denver. Later, we'll look back at the life and legacy of a Southeast Kansas racing legend.
Plus, our temperature is heating up a bit more as we go through the week. We're going to look at that coming up next.
Go further with a career at Peerless.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a hot one for us today, but actually a pretty good Monday on tap for us. Temperatures have been into the 90s over the past several days. As we look back at this month so far, cold start. We had that cold Memorial weekend, and then we finally, the first week of June, started to moderate into the 80s. But you can see over the past 7 days, we have had temperatures above our average high for this time of the year, and we're going to stay there as we go through most of this week. All right, looking outside, this is a great time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but you can see mostly sunny skies throughout the day, a few mid and upper level clouds, but in general, it turned out to be a pretty good Monday. It was just hot, but at least the humidity a little bit better than what we've had over the past couple days. Look at our highs. Just about everybody, 90 to about 92, 93 degrees during the afternoon. We have dropped off a bit, still fairly comfortable. 76 in Nevada, 78 in Neosho. Grand Lake, 76, much of the same in Pittsburgh. Parsons is sitting at 74 degrees, and I think most of us will back down into the mid-60s. But here's the good news. Humidity hasn't been that high. It always comes up at night, but our dew points have been mainly in that 60 to about 65 degree range throughout the day. So that's kind of not bad. A little bit sticky, but it's not soupy. We're going to get back to the soupy as we head through mainly Thursday or Friday later on this week. Outside right now, it looks okay. Currently sitting at 77, winds pretty much calm, pressure is steady. Clear skies for most of us. We have a few mid-level clouds that have rotated through, but nothing underneath them. So we're staying dry. In fact, there's really nothing going on across the entire Central Plains. And if you look out west, not much. And this is due to big dome of high pressure. You can see the clockwise rotation. So big upper level high. It really blocks up the pattern. It keeps us hot, mainly dry, and it doesn't allow any big storm systems to work in. And that's what we're going to see all week long. You get these weak little waves that rotate around it, so you could get some pop-up afternoon thunderstorms, but in general, nothing big. Late this week, into the weekend, we get a system that slides across the Great Lakes, kind of breaks down this high a little bit, get some tropical moisture in here, and we get better chances to get some showers and thunderstorms, and temperatures a little bit cooler by the time we head into the weekend. All right, tonight's going to be fine, mid-60s, so kind of a comfortable start. Quick warm-up, 60s, 70s, mid-80s by noon. I think most of us about 93 for a high tomorrow, so maybe a notch or two warmer than what we did see today. Tomorrow night looks good, partly cloudy skies. And then as we head into Wednesday, we could get a random isolated afternoon thunderstorm, but mainly most of us stay hot and dry once again, even on Wednesday. All right, heat indices tomorrow, a little bit higher, mid-90s. I think by Wednesday, they start to approach 100 degrees, so that humidity starts to sneak back in, especially Thursday and Friday of this week. 93 tomorrow, 94 Wednesday, 96s Thursday and Friday. Thunderstorm chances increasing as we head into the weekend.
Not a bad forecast overall, if you don't mind the heat. I, for one, don't mind the heat that much, but I know some people don't like it.
I mean, it's not excessive, but it is hot.
It is hot.
It is June.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. We do have some late developing news tonight. The Barton County, Missouri Sheriff's Office is searching for a suspect in a Pittsburgh shooting. Authorities say the suspect, a white man wearing a red shirt and black shorts ran from police after a chase that started in Pittsburgh and ended in Barton County. Another suspect was taken into custody. The sheriff's office says the suspect, who is still on the loose, is considered armed and dangerous. The Sarcoxy, Missouri archery team, they're world champs. They returned home today after their victory on 3D targets at the championship in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina over the weekend. When the team got back to Sarcoxy, they were treated to what you see here, a police and fire department escort, which became a makeshift parade. Alyssa Willis placed first overall in the 3D target competition and first in high school female 3D. Alyssa told us, though archery is a very individualized sport, her team and coaches rallied around her to help her pull off the victory.
I was really upset, and I went over to my coach David and I was like, calm me down, I really need calm down because I will start bawling. And my team gathers around and they're just saying encouraging things about how just it's one arrow, shake it off, it's fine. And the next round I shot better.
Well, congratulations to the team. Emma Harper placed 5th on the women's side and James Philbeck placed 5th on the men's side. Today is Flag Day, and Joplin's American Legion Post 13 conducted a flag retirement ceremony this evening. It took place at Memorial Hall with several flags being properly retired. The ceremony calls for the burning of the American flags in a dignified manner and respectfully burying the ashes.
The flags represent our country, and they have a lot of honor in them. And as you get ready to retire them, they have to be done professionally and done correctly so that they are actually incinerated and not just thrown away.
The Boy Scouts helped the American Legion with today's flag retirement ceremony. National Flag Day commemorates the adoption of the United States flag in 1777. Well, coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws take on Clarinda for the first time this season. And we're going to take a look at a local racing champion's legacy. Danny Terzer has that and more next.
Your tune-up today.
Scotty Bittner, fondly known for his car and racing expertise, passed away last week. We took a look at his legacy and long-lasting impact on the community.
The things people were posting, they were saying, he's a legend, he's the sweetest, the nicest man, he helped so many people, he helped preserve the history of the community.
That's Scotty Bittner, a lifelong car enthusiast, entrepreneur, and champion racer. He passed away last week at the age of 83.
Every time I see him, he had a smile on his face and made me smile. Some people are just like that.
Bittner touched the lives of many. He loved to share his vast knowledge and passion for cars with others. Early on in his career, Bittner worked for Bill Lemon at his car lot.
That's where the McDonald's is now. That's Quincy and Broadway. But see, it was a friendly auto mart back then. College kids would come in there and Bill would say, go out and talk to Scotty, he'll tell you about it. And 50 years later, we've heard from some of those kids who are now adults, and they would come in and say, you don't know how much it meant to me, what you taught me or what I learned from you.
Bittner is also remembered for his achievements behind the wheel.
Scotty raced everywhere. He raced Springfield, Joplin, Nevada, Neosho, and a lot of local tracks like that.
Bittner also raced and won at the 69 Speedway in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
It was located where the Home Depot store is now.
And then co-operated it in its final 2 years.
He took a racetrack that was struggling, made it successful.
It's always fun to read all of these. You're talking about the thrill-packed racing program ever to hit Pittsburgh.
Cars were a part of every stage of his life. He opened Bittner Motors, now run by his son Mike, and in retirement, he opened Scotty's Classic Cars, a museum that ran for 12 years. On the day it closed, Bittner saw an outpouring of support.
We were going to kind of keep count, and we quit counting at 700 people. People were standing in line to wait to come up to him. I think that was probably one of the most emotional days for him, where he really saw what a role he had played in helping so many people around the area.
I run into his name repeatedly as I do historical records for racing. They remember that Bittner guy from Pittsburgh.
The love for cars and racing spans multiple generations in the Bittner family, beginning with Joe Bittner, Scotty's dad, and continuing on with Mike Bittner, Scotty's son. The Outlaws aim to keep the bats hot following a 16-4 win over the Peak Prospects on Sunday. Joplin finishes off their Iowa road trip with a quick series against Clarinda. In Game 1 of a 2-game series, Joplin trails for most of this one, ultimately falling 10-6. The Outlaws get a shot at redemption on Tuesday. Series wraps up at 7. St. Louis returns home today looking for a fresh start against Miami. The Cardinals have just 2 wins in the month of June. Series opener tonight, Cardinals tie it up at 2 in the 5th, and a 2-run 8th puts them on top late in the ballgame. They pull off the much-needed win, 4-2. Kansas City hosting a division series against Detroit starting today. An opportunity here to pick up some wins against the struggling Tigers. Detroit dominating, though. A 4-run first inning for the Tigers is the difference in this one. They lead 8-3 in the 9th. Now that's a look at sports. We'll be back with more news after this.
Get your game day.
We take time now to honor a local veteran, Senior Master Sergeant Clarence Schoenweather Jr. The Richards, Missouri native, served in the U.S. Air Force, and we're proud to salute Senior Master Sergeant Clarence Schoenweather Jr., tonight's four-state hero. So, the results are in. Broccoli is the U.S.'s favorite vegetable, and that's according to Green Giant's annual Favorite Veggie Survey released on Wednesday. Many of those questioned praised the taste of broccoli, calling that the main factor in their selection. Carrots came up in the runner-up slot, followed by corn. And I do have to say, I do enjoy some good broccoli.
I hate it.
You got to put cheese on it, Doug.
I don't like it. I really don't like anything green. I'll eat some lettuce, but that's about it.
So then corn would be your favorite? All right, nope.
Nope, don't like it.
We've got a favorite forecast, though.
Yeah, well, not really, because it's hot. So 93 tomorrow, 94 on Wednesday, and then 96 is Thursday and Friday.
All right, Doug, thank you. That's our time for now. Thanks for making us part of your night.